Hi there. Wait a second. Hang on a second. No, wait. Hang on. Hang on a second. You stop it. You stop it. So I gotta put this picture in the beginning. In the beginning. So let's do it like this. Welcome to the bullshit machine.
Welcome to the bullshit machine. If demons run in your life and you don't want it to, and you don't know how to get it to stop, so watch the bullshit machine and you'll learn how.
Welcome to the bullshit machine, folks. I'm Johnny the Bag. I'm here ready to teabag the narrative. And you're watching the bullshit machine, a brainwash and programming removal show. Like I said, I'm here to teabag the narrative. Yeah. So today, I didn't put any word, I didn't type anything in here. So, but if you're watching a replay, it doesn't matter. Which you are, because you're the only one here. I'm the only one here. You're watching the replay, so thank you. Here, today I'm going to talk about God's plan. God's plan, where I'm seeing it, I'm seeing it everywhere, but what the meaning of it is to me, like what it's starting to mean to me, how I'm working it out, right? Instagram is feverishly telling my followers that I'm live. Join my video. So, yeah, God's plan. How I'm seeing that differently. Like the more I listen to the Bible, the more I sit in silence and listen to myself, the more the more I talk to God, the more I don't know, the more I peel back my own onion, the more I have to talk about, and the more I see God's plan and what it is. I'm not living it right now. But I'm not. I'm working towards this. It's my retreat from Babylon. I'm calling it. Working towards all that, and yeah. So that's seeing God's plan and giving it my acknowledgement, giving it my attention. My my plan or society's plan. Society's plan is, you work till you're 65 and then you retire and then you go to Social Security, and then society's plan, it has felt like it's had no meaning. And I was an alcoholic. Hi there. I was an alcoholic for a long time, and it's because I felt like my life had no meaning. I felt like, like what I was working towards. We have this promise of, oh, you could be anything in the world. You could be an astronaut. You could be the president. You could be this and that and that and that, right? And I'm in the car business, and I'm trying to get all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I gotta get this house. I gotta get this thing. I gotta get this car. I gotta get this lifestyle. I gotta get this tie. I gotta get this new razor to shave my face. And where is the happiness in any of that? Right? It feels like chasing, and it feels like running, and what I did, combined with some childhood trauma and regression and lying to myself, but I drank a lot just to be in this life. If you looked at pharmaceuticals, the way we used to, if you looked at Xanax as, wow, that person must hate their lives. You need that thing just to get through the day. It's like the pharmaceutical lifestyle is required so we cannot live our dreams, so we can live for the narrative, so we can live for Babylon, so we can live Satan's life, right? If we're drugging ourselves, like constantly, like if we're drinking and we're if you're like hooked on opioids and like you have this pharmaceutical thing, that's the cost. Like that's why you need the job. That becomes the thing that you need the job for. Well, I need the job for the medical. Right? And now you're working to pay your hospital bills and your doctor bills and your pharmaceutical bills and you're like, and that stuff only exists because we're living the lives that we're living, because we're chasing after this poof nonsense, right? We see an actor on television and they're oh, look at me, I'm in my swimming pool with my chlorinated dead water, right? And everybody's doing things for me, and like we look at them like, oh, I wish I had that. Like, that's for the old. Like, that's for the people who earned it. Right? And like the lifestyle of that. Right? And it's not a lifestyle of, earning money and then you get that thing. It's a lifestyle of experience, and when we retire, we rest, and our children help take care of us, and we help take care of our grandchildren. Like, there's a God's plan in this that we're missing, right? That gets taken out when we. That's why we don't worship idols. Like that. That's why God said, like Jesus said, don't worship idols. Like false idols, any idol. Like It takes God's plan and it queers it, right? So I'm going to get into that. And there's in different ways of how we know how you can see the evil, okay? What was the other thing? Oh, so I did still getting back to God's plan. I'm probably going to spend like an hour on that. But I sent an email to Mile High Church. Let me see if I could tag Mile High. Is Mile High in here? Let me see if I could tag Mile High. How do I do this? Anyway, I sent an email to Mile High Church, basically stating, I'll give you some background on this, because only the person on here knows this story. So, when I first came to the Denver area, I just along my journey, I hadn't connected myself with any church or tribe or anything like that, and part of that was my disdain for churches, like in the Catholic Church, like Catholic churches that I grew up in. It felt like an evil place to be. It felt like a nasty place to be. And I just didn't find the truth. I didn't feel the truth in that. And church had a bad taste in my mouth, okay? So as I was kind of coming out of an atheistic worldview, right, where everything was Big Bang and not God-centered, everything was chaos. As I was coming out of that worldview, I realized I still had disdain for churches, like just that gathering, like it can be too powerful, right? And oh, Neil, they're worshiping God. How can it be bad? Well, when you're using God against somebody, it can be bad. That you see that all the time. So I found a wonderful place when I got to Denver, when I got to Colorado. It is like the place is. It was like you walk in there and it was like such a great feeling. It's like a non-denominational, but all denominational, right? It uses teachings from all different all different faiths and background. They talk about Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad. They talk about all of it. They just use it all, and it's more for it's a life practical type of church. And I felt really, really comfortable there. I'm like, wow, this place really feels different than the cold, sterile, kind of Luciferian feeling of Catholic churches that I had growing up, right? This big dome place. But, you know, and I know that when all of this started, there's a lot of questions. You know, they were shutting down businesses and churches and making people wear masks and stuff like that. And there's a lot of places that did it at first and then just kind of realized the bullshit and then just stopped doing it. And for me, I wasn't checking on Mile High Church. I didn't check on that because I just figured, you know, like yeah, no, this place is good. This place understands. They get it, and I feel comfortable. I felt like I found something. I went so far as to actually even join the church. I have a little card here that when we'll see what we do with that. But I did a little thing where I actually joined the church, and I'm, so that's just how big of a step that is for me, as I try and figure out where I had this in my wallet. So I didn't really check on them. I really didn't see, didn't really look to see what their policies is. And if you know anything about me, I think the mask, I know that the masks are just a satanic way of control. So I had watched a couple months ago, I saw it was right when Fauci said the 2 masks. I watched a little bit of a service on Mile High, and the nice people. I like these people. They're very they've never done anything wrong to me. They've never been mean to me or anything like that. Very talented, very good-hearted people when I met them, and I'm not, so that doesn't change. That's not where I'm going with this. Not saying that this is, that these people have wronged me in any way, but I saw that the piano player was wearing 2 masks, the guitar player was wearing 2 masks, and they were doing that virtue thing where you walk up to the podium and then you're like, "Hi there. I'm going to say some words right now, but I had to wear a mask until I got to the microphone just to let you know that I'm full of phony virtue," right? And so they were doing that, and it didn't sit right. I was just like, okay, whatever. I turned it off, watched 15 minutes of it. I couldn't, whatever. And I didn't do anything. I didn't make any statements or anything. But as I learn, as I grow through this, okay, as I ask God to help me see, and God helps me see, right? As I ask God to help me uncover where this programming and brainwashing and where this Satan is in our lives, God helps me see, and it's like I had a worldview of atheism, okay, and I'm talking about God helps me see right now. So I want you to understand, whatever you think, God forgives. It's not nothing is ever too late, right? I almost killed myself with booze, okay? So I went and I looked on the website today. I've been meaning to send them an email, okay? I've been meaning to send them an email because I wanted to see, but I wanted to double check and see what their kind of narrative was. And I went on the website, and here's one of the things. One of the slider posters was about hugging alternatives. They're talking about a foot tap, an elbow thing, a wave. I don't even know what that top left corner is. Thing I can't. I could make me bigger. Ooh, what the hell? That's neat. So, anyway, but I see that, and then they're all wearing masks. So I see that, and I'm like, okay, I've given you enough time. Like I've given it enough time, right? And now it's there, and there's more slides in that thing. I only took a picture of that one, but I've given it enough time. So and this is about seeing evil, right? This is about not letting evil into our lives, right? And I get that, I'm not saying that these people are evil, but that is an evil perpetuation, right? Don't hug, wear a mask. And then it goes on to say, like, wear a mask in the Teal Center. It says, but don't hug, wear a mask, foot tap. This all goes against God's plan. Like, God didn't design us to be in that much fear. Like, we're not. Like, in the Bible, it says fear not 365 times. Like, right? And if my chiropractor's right, 366, right? Or if the guy that told him is right. I'm sure it could be verified. I just haven't done it. But that is perpetuating fear. That is not perpetuating God. That is the opposite. That is. I don't think anything can really be anti-God, but it's pro shithead for sure. It's not. The feeling I have when I go in there, and here's where it's evil. The feeling I have when I go in there is safety, is yeah, you know what? I trust you. I feel great here. I feel loved here. I feel accepted here. That is true about Mile High Church. Absolutely. But to have that gives power, right? I give that trust. I give that trust and that safety, right? And the energy in that place, I know for a fact that everybody is giving their trust and their safety. Mile High Church is a huge benefactor of wills, of estates, right? That's how much they're trusted. This is an organization, a very powerful organization that is using God. Now they have the power of masks, and they have the power of it's another control tactic. So I said, I got to get the F out of there, right? You have so much power over people, and you're using it to tell them. You're using your power to tell people to use hugging alternatives, and they're all wearing masks. So, and I get it. Let's take a look at the letter here. So Michelle's a doctor, but I didn't put Dr. Michelle. I was like, F that. That's not. Let's see. I see you. I see all of you. I've already removed myself from the Mile High Satanic Mask Cult. consider this email your notice of my departure. While I'm no longer a part of or associated with, I can't read it because of the thing. Maybe you have the same problem. It's still safe. While I'm no longer a part of your organization, it's still safe to assume that it's not the last time that I'll be in your consciousness. Just the fact that you can't hide from the truth in this email means I'll be on your mind well after you delete it. And as more people willingly defect from your bullshit control operation, you'll also be unable to not think of me. Enjoy. You've been exposed as evil, and I am no longer willing to be connected with an organization with so much influence and power that uses it to perpetuate the satanic use of the face masks. Only Satan could come up with such blasphemous control tactics such as face masks, getting people to, and this is where I can't read the bottom of it, getting people to, it goes on to say, use sanitizers and then use magic potions to stick into their arms. It turns into germaphobes, medical potions, that promise to rewire God's perfect work. Everything about a face mask and the psychopathic advice from the people on the television goes against God's design and against God's plan. You and the lost souls at Mile High are running an organization that is pumping fear and the devil's nonsense into thousands of faithful followers, and God is watching. Probably not a good time to be messing with God's plan, but what do I know? Only the mirror can tell you what's coming. God bless you, the Mile High organization, and the satanic control tactics you are using on your congregation. There's no reason to damn you. You're doing that yourself. So, I didn't read that out loud. I like that. I like that letter. I like that letter. I gotta pee though too. So you wait. You hang on. I'm gonna see if I can. You know what? Here. This is the picture. Here's a picture of the flat Earth. What if this is God's view? Right? What if this is God's view? And I know it's CGI. I know it's just as CGI as any of the NASA stuff. I get that. But really, it's like an eyeball. It's perfect. Anyway, I gotta piss. I'll be right back. Sorry I didn't have any music for you. Let's see. I'm also thinking it might be time to do like a 3-day water fast. Maybe I'll go camping and do that. Just really, So there's just say it rather than fight it. I think God's saying, you got to be a little bit more healthy. I've been letting it slip a little bit. So God's saying you got to be a little bit more healthy. So, but that's my letter to Mile High Church. I just sent it. You probably read it before she did. It's a really, and this will bring me right into God's plan, okay, and how to see it. It's like if we're looking for Satan, you're gonna find Satan, right? And that's the way I was looking at it. I was looking for Satan, like oh, the mask, that's Satan. Well, if I'm looking for God's plan, right? And what is God's plan? I'm gonna get into what this is meaning to me, right? And if you're watching this, whether it's live or the replay, help out, jump in on that. But when I'm looking to break the spells, when I'm looking to crush the brainwashing and the programming, when I'm looking to catch all of that, what I was doing is I was looking for the bad stuff. And you can see everything is it's so easy to get lost in it because all of it's like the bad stuff. And And don't take bad as, oh, don't touch it. What I'm saying is that like the bad stuff that we've taken as indulgences and made them a lifestyle. Okay? So don't take anything that you do as bad or or satanic or whatever, like, or sin. Like don't be hard on yourself. Like if any of this resonates with you, if you're like, oh man, I do that, and I don't really like when I do that. That's a good thing. When you notice you're like, oh, I do that, and I don't really like when I do that. Oh, I fucking hate you for saying it. Like, wait, it wasn't me. Just feel the thing. If you don't like the thing that you're doing, right? Just that's a good thing. You're like, oh, okay. And it's a perception switch, right? It just feels like we want to blame somebody for it, right? And I don't know if you saw in any of these other, like if my hands is stuck in a spot or something, I'm feeling some sort of energy. I don't know what it is. I'm not a mime. I'm not anything like that. I could feel like a push right now. I'm weird. Okay, just be like, yeah, that dude's weird. He's like doing this. So God's plan. Rather than look for the bad stuff, I start looking for like the good stuff. And if we can notice what God's plan is, and just small basics. I'm not saying exactly for your life, okay? Think of this plan as simple and basic, right? Okay. So what goes against God's plan? What is God's plan? Well, God put man and woman on earth and said, be fruitful and multiply. So this is so simple. It's just the plan. It's just part of the design. It's like the gas pedal is the gas pedal because it's just part of the design, right? This is just part of the design. There's a function to it, but it's just part of the design, right? So now get to the function. What is the function of man and woman? To be fruitful and multiply, right? That one complements the other. One is like, it's just simple, okay? So now, God's plan, man, woman, be fruitful and multiply. It doesn't say get straight A's. It doesn't say go to Harvard. It doesn't say be a movie star. It doesn't say be a sports icon. It doesn't say be a role model for children that are not yours. It does not say be a billionaire. Right? It's just the evidence. Like if just evidence based, man, woman. So the things outside of that are outside of the original plan. Now, before you say, oh, what, people can't do what they want, people can't. Of course they can. I have, right? I am, like, I'm not excluded. I'm not excluding myself. I'm not excluded from anything that I'm talking about, right? We talk about God's plan. I was a man whore, okay? Like, I thought just treating women like garbage and finding them at the bar, having sex with, I thought that was being a man. That's not God's plan. That's way out of God's plan. I couldn't talk about this unless I see that shit in myself. Okay? So God's plan, you have man, woman, and be fruitful and multiply. Right? And it says in the Bible, don't be a man whore. I didn't read it. I don't know. I didn't read it. I don't know. I didn't read it. 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 that's another funny story about what I like when I'm listening, and what I remember what I used to think about the Bible and why I wouldn't touch it and stuff, and then all those little stories come up. Man, it's like, dude, you're a fucking moron. So anyway, but anything outside of that man-woman is outside of God's plan, right? Now any path you take to be in God's plan is whatever path that you take to get into God's plan, right? But this is, there's a lot of I don't know, there's a lot of room for error, but God allows us to take whatever path we take to find our path, like to get on the thing, right? So when you look at this transgender thing, you look at them, like you look at parents, you look at the divorce rate, right? You look at the amount of daycare, right? You look at the education system. You look at just like the way that we're doing. I'm not saying education. I'm looking at our current system. You look at all of this. Like even what we're putting on the television in our houses goes against God's plan. You look at our food, right? Plants grow, right? If you eat an apple, you're going to eat that apple that came from a tree that made however many apples, right? And it keeps producing those apples year after year after year after year. But you eat an apple, and then in that apple is like 6 more seeds to grow more trees. And every apple that tree produces also produces the seeds. For what, I don't know, 4 or 5, I don't know how many seeds are in apples exactly, but every apple that tree produces has the ability to produce more apple trees, not just another apple. When you look at the scarcity in the world, that's not God's plan. Somebody is creating that. When you look at the transgender movement, and it's not just chicks with dicks, like dudes, I could absolutely be considered transgender. Anybody trying to play both roles. I'll get to that in a second. Most women, single moms, are playing both roles. That goes against God's plan. Right? It's not like God's going to strike you down to hell and whatever. But that's the way we've been taught and indoctrinated. And understanding this is really allowing me to peel back the onion and talk for an hour or 2 hours on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And help see through the brainwashing and the programming so you can see it. So like and so I can help myself uncover more. You know how many aha moments just talking like this I have? Like, it's like, oh. And then because I'm talking about it, I get to talk about it. Like, it's, seeing this stuff is hugely important. So when you see the state of the world, right? Like I was thinking about homelessness today, and what, like, you'll see a lot of tent cities in like Los Angeles, and I've seen them in Denver and stuff. Here, like, what do we do for homeless people? Like, if we think about how against God's plan, like, homeless people would go, right? So a homeless person, they beg on the street for money so they can buy liquor so they can keep being homeless. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, instead of like a real compassion for hard times or whatever. We like, you give people a cot in a sterile square room and some slop that's just consumed. It's not nutritional in most cases. Right. I was thinking today, and I'm sure I'm not the only one with this thought, and I'm sure maybe it's probably already being done. But I'm really interested in getting land, and I'm really interested in farming and homesteading, and I'm really interested in like, and I'm not like some weird farm program, cult farm program. I'm like, but like, I want to learn these things, and like, if they're like, and if somebody is in trouble, be in the position to help. Not, and I don't want to say in trouble, but like, be in the position, if they want to get out of Babylon, be in the position to help them learn sustainment. Right, like a BeHigherBeings ranch or something, like, and really give. Like, think about the quote: you can teach a man, or you could give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. You could teach a man 2 fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. Like this here, like the value in watching this. When you see through the brainwashing, when you see through the program, it can't come back and get you. It has to come back in a different form, right? And if you are less susceptible to the brainwashing and the programming, and you see right through the bullshit. The bullshit is there to distract you. The bullshit is there to be outside of God's plan. That's Satan's stuff. It's like Satan is the cost of what it takes to be outside of God's plan. Right? Outside of God's plan is dropping our kids off at daycare. Outside of God's plan is so many women in the workforce, right? Somebody has to make it necessary for women to work, to take women out of the home. It goes against God's plan. Are we trudging along through it? Sure. But to break up the family unit, right? When you see that in television, when you see that in your life, when you see that trying to break up the family unit, trying to take value out of people's lives, and you see it going against God's plan. Like, I'm not, you don't, it's not like you gotta stick there. I mean, there's a lot to shed. There's a lot to shed. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to let go of. But the first way to let go is to acknowledge it. Be like, yeah, you know what? I've been watching porn, and this is something that I've seen in myself. I've been watching porn and jerking off, and that goes against God's plan. That's taking my shit and I'm dumping it in the toilet and then depleting myself of life-making energy. Not life-making energy. I'm like, ugh. You want to go have tacos? Like, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, that goes against God's plan. God's like, what are you doing with that? Get that back. So when we see that shit, we're like, oh, that's why I have so much contradiction and anxiety. I'm yelling to do this thing, and I'm perpetuating the thing that I'm yelling at, right? So when we see God's plan, right? Like in the Bible, God gave us dominion over the animals, right? And we've seen God's plan perverted. Look at the cow farms and the pig farms, and like look at the way we process food. That's unnatural. Right? That creates veganism. Like there's like, if you watch one of those movies, the documentaries on what it looks like in one of those factory farms, right? And I'm sure that's sensationalized too, but like we've taken dominion and we've bent it over and sodomized it to the point where it's just it's not a sustainable thing. Like, imagine the consciousness of that meat, right? It's against God's plan, right? And like, I keep saying that because I want to take the heaviness out of it, right? There should be a balance of heaviness. When I say God's plan, I don't want, like, don't be like, oh man, you guys are sinners, evil, Satan. That's not what this is. This is recognizing it and how we're connecting to it. And once we recognize it and we realize how we're connecting to it, we can take ourselves out of it. We could take that part of the battery out of it, right? Think of yourself as the positive part of the battery and the stuff as the negative part of the battery, right? If I'm giving all my time and effort to go online in February, right? And then like, oh, the new Jordans are gonna come out. I'm like, oh God, I gotta put all my energy in these new Jordans. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get these. Oh, they're only $399. Look, they're all white. They're all white. Wow. Oh man, I need to get these shoes, right? And I order them in February. Oh, they're gonna be released in May. Like, that is not a man thing to do. That's against like God's plan. That's what I'm talking about. It's just that little homo stuff that guys do. Like, just understand, like God's plan for a man is way different than than us sitting around being fancy boys, driving cute cars and all that stuff, and mistreating women and watching porn and sitting in bars and this is all stuff, man. All stuff that I was absolutely sucked into. I was absolutely sucked into. And there's just something about waking up from it that you just want to, you're like, oh, wow. And right now you can't not wake up from it. Like, you can't, like the people that are standing in line getting shots and then waiting, like anxiously awaiting their booster shot so they can get like a little bit more of their freedom back. I just made that up, by the way. But you know that, hang on, my mustache is tickling my nose. But you know that energy. You know what I'm talking about when I talk about that energy. Those people are just so excited, wearing 2-3 masks. Like, what is the end game for that? Right? You can't not wake up to this. And the managers, the people running this, understand that too. That's why the shot has to make you so weak. What does it really change thing? Like, I don't know. But I know that Satan likes to lie a lot. Right? So we're like, oh, I need to know the truth. The truth is that I just don't want it. There's one truth in that. It doesn't matter what's in it. It doesn't matter what they're saying what's in it. Right? It doesn't matter that they're calling it safe and effective. It doesn't matter that there's aborted fetal cells in it. It doesn't matter if there's fucking unicorn cum in there. Right? It's just, it goes, like, the idea of it goes against God's plan. So no, I don't need it. Right? Does that make sense? Like the whole idea, well, this porn is okay, and then that porn is okay, and well, what if it's 2 dudes? What if it's 2 girls? What if it's... Here, stop. right? We make some of it okay. We keep making these concessions, and it's not a bad thing, but just look at it from just a truthful, authentic, honest perspective of, and if you're ready for this. If you're not ready for this, then just keep doing the thing, right? Keep lying to yourself, and that's okay, because of that doesn't affect me. But if you see through it, you're like, yeah, that doesn't seem like. Think of it like an instructional manual, right? If I am to be fruitful and multiply, all right, we'll just use it as a common sense instructional manual. If I am to be fruitful and multiply, should I be coming on women's faces, like after on a one-nighter, right? Should I, like, we're running, or should I be wanting to come on and everything, right? If I am to be fruitful and multiply, am I to be sitting at home looking whack, like? And this is the honesty. Like, you look in the mirror, female, male, it doesn't matter. But look in the mirror. It's like, if I am to be fruitful and multiply, is that really the thing? Like, what am I actually doing? So that would be me causing that detriment, or that anxiety in my life, right? You hear a lot about the two moms, the two dads. It takes a village. It takes to raise kids. Here, God's plan, mother and father, right? Or mother and father. Like, when you think about role models, right? My mother as a role model drank and beat me. My father as a role model drank and left the house, like, then didn't really come back. Okay? It's what I know about programming, right? You have no choice what you're programmed with up until 7 years old, right? And then it's the process. You really don't have any control until the 18 age. And it's just the way the mechanism works. It's not my opinion. I'm not insulting you if you're 17 and you're like, I know what I'm doing. And I'm a little saddened by Joe Rogan's path right now. But what he said about 17-year-olds is true. You're practicing talking. It's just how the mechanism works. So understanding what a role model means to a child who is younger than 7, right? What are these behaviors that we're showing our children? And what did I do? Right? My son is in another state, right? So I became the role model that I followed. Now, he knows I understand this. He knows I don't know what he understands about it right now. He's 11 years old. But if God's plan goes, like, if we go against God's plan, God gives us a plan to follow. And this is what I'm doing. Like, all we have to do is see it. Right? So, and I want to tell you that because it's not like I have like all the answers. What I'm doing is I'm able to see things and put my energy towards a far more authentic life. I don't think I'm ever going to be perfect, right? And in God's eyes, we all are. I mean, that, like, to the core, that's what we all are. We come from that same source, right? And whatever path we take to get there, to get back to it, is whatever path we take. And that's part of it too. So, but to see, to sit and reflect, to be able to see something and sit and reflect, like that church, like the Mile High Church, to get back to it, is whatever path we take. And that's part of it too. So to see, to sit and reflect, to be able to see something and sit and reflect, like that church, like the Mile High Church, like the Mile High Church, is whatever path we take. And that's part of it too. So, but to sit and reflect, like that church, like the Mile High Church, in my consciousness, God's plan is not, to I don't want to say it like that, but the satanic nature of the masks and the distancing and the sanitizers and the shots and stuff like that, and somebody with there's so much power perpetuating that. Right? Like, God's plan is so strong that I'm allowed to see through that. See that intention, even though I have deep feelings of love for that place, of my experiences there. I don't want to say love for that place, of my experiences there. I let a lot go in that place. I really did. It taught me so much. And I'm not mad. I get that it is what it is. But the truth will cut right through that feeling of loyalty to something that is untrue. You see what I'm talking about? I felt safe, I felt secure, and God's like, well, here, let me take that out of the picture. Here you go. Right? Let me take your safety and security and out of the picture, and just that was a past experience, right? You have it. You don't have to hold on to it, but see what these people are doing now. I'm like, oh, thanks, God. Right? So God will show us God's plan. And that's why I like doing these. These are there's I get value out of this. This is something that I also call selfie therapy. Selfie therapy is basically talking to the camera or the mirror, and just being honest with it, being authentic with it. It's like, oh, Neil, you're an asshole too. It's like, yeah, I get that you would say that, and I'm with God on that, right? Oh, you used to do that, right? And I'm looking at that, and I've looked at that, and I've moved past that, and I've let that part of my life go, and I've corrected my course, and continue to do so, and continue to see, and here, if you know me and have been to that church with me, you understand, wow, I felt, and there's so much connection there. It's not that that's gone, but the intention behind it, with the man, it's like, yes, it's still a boat that's sailing, but this one's sailing into a drain, right? You're still on a boat. It's like, oh, it's got this fancy and whatever. Like, oh yeah, that's God's boat, but this one, it's just sailing down the drain. So another thing where I'm seeing too is if you've been excluded, if you felt like unwelcome in your life, if that feeling shows up in your life, you're like, yeah, I feel unwelcome, right? And there's a part of me that has carried around an unwelcome feeling for a very, very long time, and there's a lot that attributes to it, but there's a lot of stuff that I have to believe for that to be true. But what I'm realizing about my unwelcome feeling, like if I feel like I don't belong somewhere, or if I'm about to say something and somebody's not going to get it, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad feeling. Because what that feeling, like if somebody's like, oh, you just don't get it, like like the way the Catholic Church described how to worship God with the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, and I can do whatever the fuck I want because Jesus died for my sins on the cross, and fuck you, and I can steal, rob, and rape, right? Like people thought I was stupid for not getting that. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. I don't get that. Right? And if that's God, then I want to have an atheist view. Right? That was the view of God. Like, wait a second, that can't be right. I don't like that. I was slaying like it's easy to see. I didn't want to live in that world. It did and I see like all a lot of the exclusion from my life where I feel like I didn't belong. I was trying to fit in somewhere where I may not have belonged. Right? Somebody with a drastically different worldview. Somebody's like where their worldview is nonsense. Like I'm excluding for not getting it. For not getting it. Like, oh, Neil, you don't get it. All you have to do to go to heaven is this, and then say some shit to the priest, and then to our fathers, Hail Marys, whatever, and then you could do whatever you want because Jesus died for our sins. I'm like, no, I don't get that. Right? Oh, you're just stupid. There's a lot of that you I have noticed in myself that I've been carrying. Like the feeling of being unwelcome or exclusion. And when I see why I've been like why people would exclude me for not getting something that's either doesn't make sense or is satanic or something like that, I'm much more comfortable with it because it's the truth. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, God was saving me from it. Right? So like our exclusion and like that abandonment sometimes that feeling of abandonment is your gift. It's like I'm feeling right now that exclusion and abandonment has really been a gift because that's the stuff I didn't want to, like I don't like those are the things. My anxiety has been the things I've made all the concessions for in my life. Right? Anxiety has been the, I'm making these concessions. I don't want to feel it, so I'm going to drink. So that, not wanting to feel that abandonment, right? And then drinking that away doesn't allow me to see the gift that feeling of abandonment can bring. Right? I'm flipping the script here a little bit, but that's the truth. It's like if we just feel our emotions, right, or why we're having them, and not have people try and fix them all the time, who realize that they're telling us some stuff, right? And whether it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be like abandonment or exclusion. but that's there to teach something. That's there for us to learn something. It's like, yeah, here, you feel abandoned, but I've kept you away from psychopaths the whole time. And my anxiety would be like, would be complaining about that. Right? I've kept you away from death and tragedy. And you're carrying around, like, unknowingly carrying around abandonment issues for that. Right? Like, if, like, in growing up in grade school, right? The little cliques, that's how they start. You get, like, excluded for stuff. And then you look at these little cliques that you wanted to be in, and all the people in certain cliques, like the popular, most are morons. And I'm not saying that like the clique that I'm in, like I'm not, like I haven't been. But it's like all these feelings of abandonment and exclusion, and like we're trying to be, that goes against like trying to put everybody in the same spot, teach everybody the same thing. That goes against God's plan. We're here individually, but together. So that one, I'm gonna explain this one. So while we're each having our own unique individual soul experiences, we're not like that. That goes against God's plan by putting all the kids in the same thing, the same class, and then learning the same stuff, right? Never mind what they're teaching kids in there, right? Because that is satanic too. That, like, a spinning ball earth, if you just read the Bible, a spinning ball earth goes against God's plan, right? Scarcity for oil goes against God's plan. Where was I? Scarcity, you get it. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's like, we're so, like the people wearing the masks want to get back to that life that goes against God's plan, when God is saying, hey, I just want to show you the plan. Right? And we're like, oh, I don't want it. I want Netflix. I want Netflix. Fucking Netflix. Give me Netflix. Right? And meanwhile, God's like, yeah, here's the plan. You see all the nature, all the evil it takes to live your life, right? And then you really look outside and it's beautiful, and it's like if you look at like plants and animals, like it's all God's plan, and we're missing it. We're like the people wearing the masks and and fighting for that life back. I'm not in limbo. How do I want to say it? Like I'm not, like, the first step is, well, a step is to realize how bad Babylon's been beating you down. How much we've let just indulgences and Satan and just the evil to perpetuate our lives. How much we've compromised our truth and our sovereignty for conveniences and bullshit. Right? That's a step. Right? I'm gonna say it's the first step, but it's a beginning step. Just awareness of it, acknowledgement of it. Right? And then look at, well, what have I been doing? What have I been perpetuating? What has been my end goal anyway? Like, when I got the house, what was I going to do? I was going to search for a bigger house. When I got this, what was I going to do? Was I going to search for another one? Because that's the way life worked. That's the way it seemed to work. Right? I just wanted to fix the itch. I got an itch to do something. You better scratch it. So I get to look at my life and be like, okay, So that was me perpetuating, that was me following a path that when I'm honest and I'm authentic and I'm real about it, was leading me nowhere. Leading me to want more of that life. It's like next thing it's fucking beer and bikinis, yachts and mansion. Like that's that thing that like it's like, yeah, you can have this, you can have this, you can have anything you want. That's why I like the manifestation gurus. You know, I'm seeing through that too. Like, oh, you can manifest anything you want, man. Cook the man. Which it's not evil. It's not like a bad thing, but like that lifestyle of just like, I just want to ask for luxury and this and that. Like, okay, yeah, I've been doing that, right? And then I've been chasing some money so I can buy that. Right, and all this stuff that I earn, like where's the value, you know? And then what was I spending my money on? Well, if I don't have anything, right, then what was the value in any of it, right? To keep things on at the time, and but I'm learning about what I want, like what is closer to God's plan, you know? What can I do to actually put value back into my life? And this is one of those things. This is absolutely one of those things. Sharing what I learn with other people is huge. Is huge. For me, that's a community building action. Like, this is a community building thing. Because I'm not telling you what to do. There's nothing about me that's telling anybody what to do. But when we stop, like when I stop the craziness, when I stop and just sit and reflect and you know, listen to God, I get real. Like, I get the noise goes away, and I realize that I don't have to keep trying to live that life that's leading me into nowhere. You know, so then better ideas come up. Like, what can I do to sustain? You know, what can I do to really give back more than I take, right? And that step would be like giving back to the earth and like not being so dependent on Babylon and what they have to offer, right? Like I was talking about the solution for like, or a solution for anything, like for like homelessness. Learn to farm, learn to be self-sustaining, learn, you know, I'm awesome. Like I could build everything. I could build almost anything. Like, I'm excited to put that in my life and like not need to create like a entrepreneurial business out of it, right? I love to work with my hands and build stuff, and like we're so used to, or I'm so used to going out and buying it or doing, like, I get to innovate in my own space, in my own life, in my own everything, and put the stuff in, or exclude. I get to exclude Babylon out of my life as much as I want. And I get to follow the plan. I get to follow God's plan. right? And there's always more to do. There's always stuff to work towards. I think, like I said, I have nothing against like all that manifestation, but there's a cost to that too. Like all the food that we eat, you talk about like the supplements and all of that has to be grown somewhere, like, and it's usually some kind of factory, and then people gotta, the supply chain is weird. It's meant to feed corporate farms, right? So all of that stuff that like we think we're inventing to keep people healthy, all we need to do is grow food and eat food that's not grown with poison, and eat animals that haven't been shot up with poison, and they're not on a poison diet. Like that's all we have to do. Like that's God's plan. The nonsense, the frilly stuff, the bullshit, the this works in 7 days. That this is it's gonna work. This is so like all this stuff that's made in factories and these supplements and like this crazy shit. I'm not saying that there's not good intentions behind it. I'm not saying that none of it works, but what I'm saying is that it's unnecessary. It's absolutely just, we have so much that's just unnecessary. If we were sticking to God's plan, eating the plants that provide, the fruits and the vegetables that provide, that we have dominion over the we don't have to poison our animals. We don't have to put them in these fucking crazy farms. Just overrun, packed in disease. It goes against the thing. It's unnecessary. So it's not that. This is why I'm glad I get to talk this stuff out. Don't even look at it as evil. It's just, if it's so unnecessary, why am I doing it? You know what I'm saying? I know we live in regions, and there's a lot of thought that goes into this. And if it seems like a huge task, that just means that we haven't been paying attention. If it seems overwhelming, then it's you that hasn't been paying attention, because it's overwhelming. And it's like, wow, to me sometimes. Like, oh my God, I have so much to do. And I realize, yeah, you haven't been paying attention. And then there's that part of me that wants to get down on myself. And then it's like, hey, you didn't know. Right? And I'm not, don't think that's like an excuse. Oh, you didn't know. Like, but there's a forgiveness that I got to that point. Right? You get to that point. So don't even think of it as bad. It's just like unnecessary. What is like here, and I'm going to use this as an example, which it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's unnecessary, right? Like, and maybe for specialized things, but the treadmill, okay? I understand we have cold weather climates and stuff like that, right? I get it, right? So it works, but a treadmill, you'll never walk the whole flat earth, but it's just an unnecessary thing. But it creates jobs, it creates money, it creates gyms, it creates, right? I get it, but it's an unnecessary thing. We put it like we don't need all of that stuff if we're talking about sticking to the plan, to God's plan. Like God already made the treadmill. It's all that land out there, right? God already made the supplements. It grows out of the ground. God already made the perfect complementing human beings, the plug and socket, right? Man and woman, huh? That's not an anus. Like, God already made it. And we're just see the plan. See what is unnecessary. You're like, oh, but it's convenient. This is unnecessary. In the grand scheme of things. But it's necessary because of the lifestyles that we live. Right? It's like I'm necessary. Like, this is necessary because evil exists. Right? And when one starts to see through it, like, it's just the thing that I think we're supposed to share. I mean, like, that, for me, that's God's plan. Right? I don't know what, I don't know what's going to change, what changes inside of each of us, the way we see things, the way we see through things, the way, I don't know what goes through your filter is what I'm saying. I don't know how you're going to react or see any of this. That is when I talk about individuality, like our souls, we're each our own soul connection with one source, right? We're one thing individually connected to one source. So when that's why I'm not telling you what to do. Like, I just want to open up that wizard stew, right? That brainwash soup. I'm gonna just stir that up a little bit and wow, I do see that. And it feels true because my heart just skipped a beat. Oh, wow, I do feel that. That does feel like the truth. I have been being a sodomite. I have been drinking too much. I have been ignoring my stuff. I have been, right? I have been living this life. Like, okay. So I don't know what's going to happen if you sit with this, if this resonates with you. But it's much bigger. Your connection to God is much bigger than what I can tell you it's supposed to be. The thing that's telling me to say right now is it's not my job to tell you what God's plan is for you, but if I can help you see through the things that are not God's plan, and I'm talking about in the most simplest form. I'm not talking about your specific plan with God. That's the thing I'm encouraging you to find. Right? I'm not asking for your money. I'm not requiring that you pay me. Right? You can donate to nfirst@gmail.com, which is my PayPal. Right? You can donate to my Venmo at BeHigherBeings. But you're not obligated to do that. It's your connection to yourself, your soul, your connection to God is special. I'm just the way I see it. I'm just here to tell you that I'm finding mine, and it's worth it to listen to it. It's worth it to connect to it. It's worth it to feel it. It's worth it. It's worth it to understand that there may have been some indoctrination. There may have been some sleight of hand, and somebody might be trying to steal God out of your life or steal common sense out of your life. I say this a lot. That's why I think they put you on a spinning ball earth. It's for you to not trust your own senses. It's for me to not trust my own senses. So I don't know what your connection is going to say. I don't know what you and God are talking about. I don't know. And I don't even know if you are. I don't even know if that's in your thing, right? You might think I'm just full of shit and I'm just an entertaining, very handsome guy, you know, and that's fine too. But like, my advice isn't what God's telling you. My advice is to listen and hear what you're being told, because we're all being told something if we're willing to listen. Make sense? So, and I was listening to something earlier today. Like, that goes against God's plan. Like even the truthers spreading fear are still spreading fear, right? And like, if you're spreading fear about the end of times, the end of days, the apocalypse, like the end of and you're just taking hope away from people. You're like people are just like, oh, well, it's going to end anyway, so I might as well do nothing. That goes against God's plan too, right? And if you're if you've seen any of my previous videos, I'm guilty of that, right? That's like when my YouTube channel got deleted. That's a realization that I had. So it's like it's okay, and just but be okay with acknowledging what we're doing. Like, I really felt at the time I was being very, very helpful, and there's a lot of this in my videos too, but there's also perpetuating a lot of fear, and that's that goes against God's plan too. So I'm not I'm not coming to you from somebody who's perfect. We're all perfect in God's eye. I get it. But I'm not coming to you from a pedestal. I'm not coming to you from a place above. I'm absolutely coming to you from a place of sharing, a place of compassion, a place of, if you see this and you resonate with it, you're supposed to. That's where I'm coming from. So, all right. Well, I hope you had fun. I had fun. I like doing these, and if you do want to donate, BeHigherBeings on Venmo, and first at gmail.com on PayPal. The buying land and having like learning and being able to teach self-sustainment, I'd like to ask God for some help on that one. If we're talking about manifesting, and the understanding that I have much to learn. My thought on that is absolutely that me expressing what I'm expressing now will bring those people into my life, those resources into my life to teach me, and it sets me in the right mind frame to learn the things that I want to actually learn the things that go with the plan, right? Move forward in that way. I don't have to, if I thought I had to take porn off the internet for me to move on, then I'm not moving forward with God's plan. I'm not moving forward with my own plan, right? If I think I have to beat Babylon, David versus Goliath, if I think I have to beat that, I hold my power. It needs me when I ignore it. It's like, come back. Oh, look at these titties. Look at this fresh car. It's always trying to seduce me. It needs me. I don't need it. I hope you're getting this. I hope this makes sense to you. So, again, when I express that yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I want to learn. Real estate, land, farming, stuff like that. It's not, it's just letting God know. It's just letting God know the path, and then I'm putting my energy towards all that. And if somebody sees this and resonates with it, say, man, I know, man, you can come work for me, right? Like on my farm. Ooh, yeah, like that, like cool. I ain't gonna pay you, but okay, cool. Let me go learn. Like, cool. So that's what I'm talking about. That's true. Like, that's real. That's value. That's value. And speaking of value, I hope you got some value out of this today. Anyway, let's end it. The bullshit machine. All right. Okay. Welcome to the bullshit machine, or goodbye from the bullshit machine, the brainwashing and narrative programming removal show.
Welcome to the bullshit machine. Welcome to the bullshit machine. If demons run in your life and you don't want it to, and you don't know how to get it to stop, so watch the bullshit machine and you'll learn how.
Be higher beings, guys. Thank you. Stay powerful. Keep your shit. Trust God's plan. Love you guys.